What's up, guys? Wanted to give an update on the LS4 swapped Audi project. Got the LS4 out the other night. I also picked up a cherry picker. Definitely could have used that when pulling this thing out of here, because this is not, this is sketchy as shit. So yeah, so I plan on getting this thing tore apart and seeing what's wrong with it. Hopefully I can swap out bearings and rebuild the thing pretty much. But I wanted to kind of do a walk around of the components that I made to make this swap work. So this is, for those of you who don't know, this is an Audi B8 A4 transmission. So this is called an OB2. The OB4 is what's in the S4s and S5s. I picked this one up, or I chose this one because they're cheap as can be. So I got this for like 200 bucks or something like that. This is out of an A4, so it's weaker. So if it breaks, it's a $200 investment. But so let's see. So this is the bell housing adapter that I made. It's not perfect, but it works pretty much. You've got the Audi bell housing bolt to this plate, and then this plate bolts to the LS4. So what's interesting about the LS4 and kind of strange is that the bell housing bolts, they are not the same as a normal small block Chevy or LS. So what you see is these are actually the GM metric pattern. So on my bell housing adapter, I did put both sets of holes in the plate, so I could use an LS4 or a normal LS. The LS4 crank is a little bit shorter. I think on the back it's 10 millimeters and on the front it's 4 millimeters shorter. Not really sure, to be honest. Not sure of exact dimensions, but I know that if I would use like my LC9, I have a spare LS that I was planning on putting in this thing. If I would use that LC9, then I would have to modify the crank adapter right there. So yeah, that's the bell housing adapter. It's pretty simple. Just literally a 1/2-inch thick steel plate with some holes drilled in it and some drilled and tapped. So the rest of this here, yeah, look at this goofy flywheel. This is pretty similar to what the B8s look like. This is actually a custom flywheel I had made, but the only reason I did that is because there's no aftermarket single mass flywheels that can use this clutch, which I'll get onto that here in a second. But pretty much, I'm gonna take this apart and maybe I'll make an edit and put that in here. Pretty much this little piece here bolts to the crankshaft, and then it's got some, let's see. Oh, now I can't even remember. Okay, so in the ring gear, there's another set of bolts that bolt to that plate, and then the Audi ring gear itself bolts to the crank adapter, and then obviously the flywheel bolts to the ring gear here. I mean, this is more similar to like an automatic transmission, like a torque converter, but the reason it looks so goofy is that the axle shaft actually goes through the bell housing. So right in there, that actually goes right through the bell housing. So what it does is, the reason it looks like that is because this axle shaft fits right through there. So that's why the spacing is, it looks so strange. It's like spaced off of the flex plate. So onto this clutch. So this clutch is actually out of a 3-liter TDI S4, S5 from Europe. So the B8 Audi S4, S5, you could get it in Europe in a 6-speed manual with a V6 TDI. So this is a twin disc clutch, a factory Audi twin disc clutch. This is like $200. So it's, I mean, from what I've read on some forums, some guys are getting like 650 foot-pounds on these things, and they hold up pretty decent. But the good thing, so I guess let me get onto this. So this is just a flywheel made to OEM heights, OEM specs to be able to use this. So I could use like a factory dual mass flywheel in this thing. So this clutch And flywheel package is the stock S4, S5 height. So if I wanted to put like a aftermarket, I don't know, dual or twin disc clutch in here, or ceramic or something else to hold this, the power of this thing, so say like for example this wouldn't work, I could swap the flywheel out and the clutch, and the rest of my components here would still work. So here's what I was talking about with the ring gear adapter. So flywheel bolts here to those positions, the flex plate, and yep, right there. And then this bolts to a crank adapter. All right, so this is the crank adapter. So this is what the flex plate bolts to on the back side of it. And this directly goes onto the crank. Like that. And then flex plate bolts to that piece. And then flywheel bolts to that. All right, so this crank is moving. It's got like some backlash in it, so I'm not entirely sure what's wrong with it. Maybe spun rod bearing, but gonna be tearing it apart here soon enough, and we'll see. All right, thanks. That's all I got for you guys today. Thanks, guys.